Okay, so good morning. Just a little river walk this morning. Beautiful autumnal feel here. So I don't really know what I'm going to say this morning. This is a kind of experiment, so if you're watching this, just bear with me. And so I just wanted to say a little bit about the spiritual path, if you like, the way out of suffering that I have enjoyed and enjoy, and has become apparent to me. And I'm trying to say that in the clearest way possible. I haven't discovered anything in one sense, it was given to me. But yet we have to find it in our own experience. So in one sense I have discovered it for myself. But everything I say, I think, is findable in other people's renditions, other traditions and so on. So I'm not claiming any originality. Spirituality is, seeing a look around here, is a recognition of how things really are, how they actually are. And once we see how they actually are and experience it, life changes. There's many perks to that realization. And the realization isn't that difficult. In fact, it's very simple. Sometimes I've likened it to falling off a log. It's so simple. We just fall off. However, there's a caveat to that, because the reason that we don't see how reality is, don't experience it as it is we've been trained, if you like. We've learned from our life, our experience, and our society, and everything else that's happened around us, to live in a world of descriptions. Sometimes I call that the about world. We don't live in the direct experience, we live in a mediated experience. And so when I see a tree, it's not seen as a direct experience. It's seen as a concept. I don't really fully engage what's actually there. And these concepts are useful. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with them. But when we believe that the tree is a solid, independent, existing something, and that's all there is, then that is a recipe for suffering, because we're confused. We're living out of a understanding which is incorrect. It's misaligned. And that misalignment will cause us to suffer. And I think everyone listening to this, almost everyone listening to this, will vouch for that. You wouldn't be listening, I doubt, unless you had a sense that there was some dissatisfaction in your life. And so here comes a car. And so spirituality is uncovering, just wait a second there. Spirituality is uncovering the actuality of our experience, and because it's present 24/7, it's always here. It's an easy thing to do. We can just choose anything and examine it and discover that it's not what we thought. Nothing is what we think, because the thoughts and the words and the categories and the frames of reference can't grasp and which word do we use? The indescribability, the inscrutability of actual experience, of this experience. And recognizing that nothing can be grasped by the mind. When that finally dawns, that is the realization that leads to the cessation of suffering and a road of discovery. And more, in my experience, the more that has become clear to me, the more my sense of suffering has diminished, the more sense of welcoming to everything that appears, you know. So I'm not juggling with things in the way I used to, not trying to get this feeling to stay, this one to go. All that diminishes, and we end up with a kind of beautiful oceanic sense of reality, that it's a whole movement. And there's sharks and there's little Nemo fish, whatever they're called, and there's, you know, so all this is, but all of it's welcome, because all of it is equal. All of it is the same essential, indescribable, inscrutable presence, we could call it. These words are just approximations. They're just trying to indicate something. They're not it. Peter Brown uses that term, radiant presence. And I like that. That's one of the ones I like. But there's many others we could choose just to hint, just to point us to the experience of this. This without any description. This without any attempt to avoid it or change it. This. And it's here where we find the cessation of suffering. Okay, well, thanks for listening, and I hope this was useful. And yeah, I'm going to try and do a few more. So see you next time.